All right, welcome back. Glad to have you with us as we dig deeper into the Gita.
Yeah.
Last time we were tackling chapter 14. We got into all that stuff about the gunas and how those forces were kind of always at play, shaping how we act and all that.
Right. Those different energies.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and now we're moving on to chapter 15, and
It's a big shift.
it's like a whole different view, I think. And they introduced this really wild metaphor, the inverted tree. You ever heard of that?
Oh yeah, the inverted tree. It's one of those things that once you wrap your head around it, it just kind of sticks with you. You start seeing things differently, you know?
I know, right? At first I was like, wait, a tree growing upside down?
Yeah.
I mean, how does that even work?
Yeah, it definitely make you think.
But the more I thought about it, the more it started to make sense.
Yeah.
Because it's not really about a literal tree, is it? It's about how we approach life, where we look for meaning and all that.
Yeah. That's it. It's like it's turning our usual way of thinking on its head. Like we're so used to focusing on the external world, right? The stuff we can see and touch and achieve.
Yeah, all the branches.
The branches, exactly. All the
Uh,
stuff we think we need to be happy. The job, the house, the whatever it is we're chasing.
and it's easy to get lost in all that, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. It's like that other analogy the Gita uses, the one with the mirror maze. You just keep running into your own reflections, these distractions that keep you from finding the way out.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one. It's like we're surrounded by all these shiny things, but they're just reflections. They don't really lead us anywhere.
And I think that's something we can all relate to these days, right? I mean, think about how much time we spend just scrolling on our phones. It's like we're in this digital maze, constantly bombarded with information and stimulation.
It's like we're going through the motions, but not really getting anywhere. So how do we get out of that maze, right? How do we break free from all those distractions and reconnect with something deeper, something more meaningful?
Well, that's where the idea of the inverted tree comes in, I think. Because if the branches are all those external things, the roots are what's really important. It's that source of nourishment, the foundation that holds everything together.
So it's about finding that grounding, that connection to something bigger than ourselves.
I think so, yeah. And the Gita talks about this idea of detachment as a way to do that.
Detachment. I got to be honest, that word always kind of throws me off.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It sounds kind of, I don't know, cold or like you're supposed to just give up on everything.
Right, like become some kind of emotionless robot.
But it's not about that at all. Detachment in the Gita, it's more about shifting your perspective.
Okay, how do you mean?
Well, imagine you're trying to climb a mountain, right?
Yeah.
And you've got this giant backpack loaded with all kinds of stuff. Worries, fears, regrets, to-do lists, you name it. That backpack, that's like all the stuff we cling to.
All the baggage.
Yeah, exactly. And that baggage, it weighs us down, makes it harder to move, harder to see where we're going. So detachment, it's like lightening that load,
Eh,
letting go of the things that are holding you back so you can climb more freely.
I like that. So it's not about ignoring our emotions or responsibilities. It's about choosing what we carry with us,
So
right?
exactly.
So how do we start doing that? How do we actually lighten that load in everyday life? The Gita I mean, does it give us some practical tips for that?
Oh, for sure. It does. First thing, you got to figure out what's actually in your backpack. Like, what are the things that are weighing you down the most? For some people, it might be that fear of failure, always worrying about what other people think.
Yeah, that'll do it.
Or it could be getting stuck in overthinking. It's just those thought loops that go round and round and never really get you anywhere. Or maybe it's that attachment to outcomes, always needing things to go a certain way.
Right. It's about becoming aware of those patterns, those habits that aren't really serving us.
Exactly. And once you see them, once you identify those things, you can start to work on letting them go.
So what, like just snap our fingers and they disappear?
Oh, I wish it were that easy. No, it's a process. It takes time and effort. But the Gita emphasizes starting small. Little changes can make a big difference over time.
Okay, so what kind of small changes? Give us an example.
Well, it could be something as simple as decluttering your physical space. Getting rid of stuff you don't need, creating a more peaceful environment. Or maybe it's cutting back on social media, being more mindful of how you're spending your time and energy.
Makes sense. And the Gita talks about other practices too, right? Like journaling, deep breathing, spending time in nature.
Yeah, all of those things can help. It's about finding what works for you, what helps you quiet the mind and reconnect with yourself.
So it's like those practices, they help us get back to the roots, that source of inner strengths that the inverted tree is talking about.
Yeah, I think so. They help us tune out the noise of the world and tap into that deeper wisdom that's always there within us.
That's powerful. So even when we feel lost, even when we're caught up in all the chaos of life, we can always find our way back.
Exactly. We just have to remember to look up, so to speak. Remember where our true nourishment comes from.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into Chapter 15, I'm left thinking about that mountain, and
Yeah.
that backpack we're all carrying.
It's a powerful image, isn't it?
It is, and it makes me wonder, what's one thing I could let go of this week? Just one thing to lighten my load and make the climb a little easier. What about you? What's in your backpack?
That's a good question. I'm gonna have to think about that one.
Yeah, me too. Something to ponder, right?
Okay.
But we'll have to save that for next time.
Definitely. Chapter 16, we're coming for you.
That's right. Join us then as we keep exploring the Gita and figuring out how to climb that mountain with a little more grace and a lot less baggage. See you then.
See ya.